Today, right, variables and data types are the building blocks of any programming languages. So now today, we're gonna learn variables and data types in C. So let's get started. So first of all, you have to open any IDE. Currently, I'm using Visual Studio Code or VS Code. What do you have to do when you open VS Code in any directory? We have to first of all create a file. Let's create a file by click on this new file, and then we're gonna name it like datatype.c. .c is the extension, shows that this script or this file is C, belongs to C. And let's create this file. First of all, you have to write hash include stdio.h int main and return 0. This is the starting point, or this is the entry point of any C program. First of all, you have to write this piece of code before you're writing anything in your script. This is very important, and we will definitely look into that what is uh, include stdio.h means, what is int main, and what is return 0, and what is this curly braces. But you have to just copy this and just remember that you have to write uh, you have to write all code inside this curly braces. And at the end of the code, you have to write this return 0. So let's write printf world and then semicolon. Once you have write and run this hello world is printed here in console. Congratulations, you have written your first line of code. So now let's break down this line first of all. So this printf is the built-in function. Printf will print everything which is inside these parentheses in the console. This is the console, and the hello world is printed here just because I have instructed C to print hello world in the console. What is this double quotes? We will definitely look into that. But first of all, we're gonna write it down. Okay, so now let's move on to the variables and data types. What are variables and what are data types? So let's create a variable. As you can see, that is int a equals to 4 semicolon, int b equals to 3 semicolon. What does it mean? It means that variable variable is like a container that store a value, and every container store a specific type of a value. So there is a variable a. It store integer type of value. 4 is integer. B is the name and a is the name of that variable, and int is the type of storing values. So a is a variable name and int is a data type, and 4 is value, 3 is value. Okay, so when you write semicolon means this line is terminated. This line is ending here. It is very important and see that you have to write semicolon, otherwise error occurred. Okay, just imagine I remove this semicolon. What will gonna happen? This will throw an error like int b 3 semicolon accepted, something like that. So you have to write semicolon at the end of the line. Remember that. Okay, so these are variable. Now let's talk about data types. We have talked about we have talked about integer data type. Let's move on to let's explore some other data types like int and if I store if I create a variable like this for 2.1, what will happen? So just suppose that I have created a variable. What can I do with that? So let's use the variable and print some value to the console. What we can do to print a variable in the console, we have to use a printf built-in function. So let's write a printf, and if we want to print a integer to the console, then we have to write percentage %d in the double quote. Percentage %d indicate that I want to print an integer value. Okay, I want to print an integer value here. What value? A. Everything which is stored in A will print using this printf statement. Let's run this. As we can see, the 4 is printed as A is 4. Okay, so just imagine I want to create a variable like int c equals to 1.2 and printf percentage %d c. Let's remove this statement first and let's run this. It is 1. But what I have written here, it is 1.2 and but the console prints 1 only. Why this happened? Because 1.2 is not an integer value. The only integer value in 1.2 is 1. Rest after point is double or float. So if I want to print 1.2 in my console, then I have to change the data type. That will be int, not int. It will be float. It will be float. And if I run this, then I also have to change percentage %d to percentage %f so that it can understand that I want to print a floating point value. So if I do this, console will print 1.2. Okay, so let's move on to the next data type, that is double. Double d equals to 1.3 printf percentage f. Double is a kind of data type that store exactly the floating point, just like the floating point value. Okay, then one more data type we're gonna study is character. You have to write char ch equals to a, and to print character in the console you have to write printf percentage c and ch, and through this you can print a character in the console. Now let's do something with all these variables what we have created and what we're gonna create. Let's create a variable int a equals to 3 and int b equals to 3. Okay, so let's create another variable c that store sum of a plus sum of a and b, a plus b, and when I print c, what will gonna happen? You know it already. It will be 6 because 3 plus 3 is 6. We can also do this process in here. Here it will also true. The printf function will print something in your console. What if I wanna give the input to the computer? How can I take input from the user? So there's a built-in function also called scanf. Scanf. First of all, let's create a variable a, and if I want to take input from the user to a, there is a is null here. A doesn't contain any other value. A doesn't contain any value. If I want to store any value to a by taking input from the user, let's take scanf. Which type of value I'm going to take? I'm going to take percentage %d and ampersand A. While you're writing the scanf function, you have to write ampersand A to access this variable. And then when I have the value stored in A, I'm gonna print it. Printf percentage %d. Oh, let's run this. Okay, so I have to give a value like giving this a 4, and then it will print 4. Just imagine I'm writing something here. The given val value is, let's run this. If I enter 5, then the given value is 5. That means now A store 5. After this line, A is equals to 5. A is equals to 5. Okay. So this was all data types and variables. So to practice all this, let's let me give you some questions to solve. So you have to write a program in which you have to take two numbers from the user and print their sum, multiplication, subtraction, and division. Okay. Second question is, second question is, what will be the output of this code? Like character A equals to A, and you have to print an integer value of A minus 0. A is this variable. So character, that means there is A minus 0. How can you, so what will be the output? Is this an error, or is this something, it will print something in the console or something? So please attempt these questions and you will be definitely leveling up your skills in C programming languages. Thank you.